Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 193 based on novel. So let's start. The moment the beam of light disappeared, the fragment it was on was immediately swallowed by the surrounding rifts, leaving nothing behind. The entire Thunder Celestial Realm was being ravaged by the cold winds from the spatial rifts. This cold wind was very dense, and they continued to increase. Soon, they all linked together as they swept the area. The fragments in the celestial realm continued to collapse. At this moment, there were less than 20 fragments. Pieces of black ice appeared inside this cold wind and continued to spread. Soon, the 20 fragments were covered in the black ice. From a distance, this black ice gave off an eerie aura. Just looking at it would make you feel a chill in your heart. Black ice also formed along the edges of the thunder chains connecting these 20 fragments. Soon, the black ice extended and covered all of the thunder chains. The cultivators that didn't leave in time were all frozen. They remained in the positions they were in before being frozen. Some were flying, struggling, or waiting for death with their eyes closed. The bodies of some of them had collapsed but hadn't dissipated. The flesh and blood that was spraying out were frozen. It was a shocking scene. On one of the fragments was a frozen middle-aged man with a sword frozen in the air before him. He wasn't the only one. The treasures of everyone attempting to escape were frozen. There were even people who were hit by the cold wind as they were using a spell. There was still faint light from their spells in the ice around them. These flickers of light became the only light sources inside the Thunder Celestial Realm. They were scattered like the stars. Although beautiful, if one took a closer look, it was very different. After the icy wind, the collapse of the Thunder Celestial Realm stopped. Only the black ice was left to tell people of what had happened here. The shadow of a sword flashed through the Thunder Celestial Realm. The surrounding ice had no effect on it as it flew through the Celestial Realm. There was a person standing on the tip of the sword. This person was as ethereal as the sword. The person calmly looked ahead with a smile before disappearing along with the sword. More than 100 ripples appeared in various locations among the 4 regions of the All-Heaven star system. Although they all appeared at different locations, they all appeared at the same time. There was a cultivator inside each ripple. Everyone that appeared was excited. The feeling of surviving death made them enter a trance once they saw the stars. After finding their direction, each cultivator quickly returned to their family. Soon, the news of what happened in the Thunder Celestial Realm spread. There was a particular name that spread like lightning among the dozens of families of the surviving cultivators. Who was it that battled against the strange white-haired man at the Celestial Gate? Who was it that saved many cultivators from death during the time of crisis? Who was it that gave others the will to live during the collapse of the Thunder Celestial Realm and use a fragment to save countless people? Who was it that brought these people into the transfer array of the Thunder Celestial Temple? He had smashed the barrier and with one roar scared away messengers of the Thunder Celestial Temple to bring everyone to the transfer array before it collapsed. Shumu. There were big and small families among the dozens of families of the surviving cultivators. However, when banded together, they formed a force that couldn't be underestimated. Under this power, the Thunder Celestial Temple didn't talk about the matter of the transfer array. It was as if it never happened. In fact, these dozens of families had publicized this and made Shumu famous. After all, there were family members that had broken into the forbidden area of the Thunder Celestial Temple, and this could cause disaster for the entire family. This couldn't be hidden and the Thunder Celestial Temple must have already known. Instead of waiting for the Thunder Celestial Temple to kill them, they decided to band together and fight with reason. This way, there was a chance of survival. Otherwise, it would be like handing over the family members that escaped the Thunder Celestial Realm. However, the people that could go into the Thunder Celestial Realm were all direct descendants and the future pillars of the families, so how could they be left to die? The elders of these families were all cunning people, so they naturally knew of this. In doing this, they were able to successfully offset the matter of breaking into the Thunder Celestial Temple's forbidden area. However, at the same time, they had completely spread the name Shumu. In particular, The people who were rescued by Shu Mu continued to exaggerate matters. In the end, no one could guess Shu Mu's cultivation level. The elders of the families questioned the people that were there. Once they heard of the various spells used in the battle against the strange white-haired man, they were terrified. The name Shu Mu became a storm in the All-Heaven star system. However, no one else had seen him again. It was as if he had suddenly disappeared and become a total mystery. All-Heaven star system, Western Domain. This was a vast domain with a large nebula that emitted dazzling light. The formation of the stars were strange and often intoxicating to look at. Among the 4 domains, the Western Domain had the most fierce beasts. Compared to the other 3 domains, there weren't as many cultivators here. It could even be said that nearly 70% of the Western Domain were places cultivators couldn't even enter. That was because even the space in those areas was extremely dangerous and contained fierce beasts that cultivators weren't even aware of. That place was named the Strange Domain. Only some powerful cultivators that needed some material for alchemy or treasures would enter. However, they didn't go too far in, as there was a terrifying existence deep within. At this moment, at the depths of the Strange Domain, there was a strange area. The entire area was almost pitch black. There weren't any stars or bodies of light here. It was so dark that it was frightening. It was as if it had been forever since someone had come here. Although this wasn't the true center of the Strange Domain, it wasn't far off. There was a light that suddenly appeared in the dark. At first it was dim, but it soon became very bright, to the point of suddenly lighting up the surrounding area. At the moment the surroundings were light up, it was revealed that this area was filled with fog. The fog seemed to be extremely afraid of the light. The fog rapidly retreated and in the blink of an eye formed a wide area free of fog. The light grew until it was more than 100 feet wide. Ripples appeared and then a figure gradually formed inside the ripples. This figure slowly took form until it formed a person. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with caution. After he appeared, the ripples began to dissipate and he clearly saw his surroundings. Right after the light disappeared, the fog began to move as if it wanted to swallow this area once more. As the ripples dissipated, his eyes dimmed, but all the hair on his body stood up as a feeling of danger appeared in his heart. Without thinking, the thunder in his body activated and his hand immediately formed a seal. 2 balls of thunder giving off muffled rumbles gathered in his hands. These 2 balls of thunder were extremely bright. The moment they appeared, the flash of light caused the fog to suddenly stop. It was as if it had been attacked, and it retreated back to more than 10,000 feet away. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he stared at the fog before him. Then he looked around and couldn't help but frown. Where is this place? This fog is a bit strange, it's as if there is life in it. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he threw the ball of thunder in his right hand. The ball of thunder immediately flew ahead with a rumble. The fog before him rapidly split, creating a passage that allowed the ball of thunder to pass. Wang Lin's body flickered and followed closely after the ball of thunder. He walked with the ball of thunder and continued to move forward. The fog seemed endless, and even when the ball of thunder dimmed, he still didn't leave the fog. Along the way, Wang Lin's eyebrows were tightened. The fog around him was simply too strange, so he didn't dare to spread out his divine sense. He had a feeling that if he spread his divine sense, it would cause a huge change in the fog. Although this feeling was ethereal, it was very strong. After 3 days of flying, Wang Lin stopped. There was still endless fog before him. Nothing had changed, it was as if the fog was endless. After a moment of silence, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he slowly calmed down. His mind relaxed as he took a step forward and ripples appeared under his feet. Wang Lin's eyes were still calm as he attempted to merge with the world. He took another step, and this time even more ripples appeared under his feet. This time Wang Lin found the feeling of merging with the world. This could be the fastest he had merged with the world so far. This was all thanks to Master Flamespark. Wang Lin's origin soul and body had become much more in tune with the world after the last experience. On the 3rd step, when Wang Lin's fight foot landed, he suddenly disappeared, leaving behind only a ripple. A moment later, the surrounding fog immediately swallowed the area, leaving behind no light. An unknown distance away, where it seemed liked the edge of the fog. Although there was still fog, it was a lot thinner than before. Ripples suddenly appeared in the area, causing the fog to immediately disperse, and Wang Lin's figure appeared inside the ripple. At the moment he stepped out, his expression changed. This was indeed the end of the mist, but 300 feet before Wang Lin was a dark red wall of flesh. It was extremely big and seemed to extend forever. When he looked up, it was still covering the area. Wang Lin's expression was extremely gloomy. When he merged with the world, he was thinking about his cultivation planet. However, he immediately felt like he had hit a wall, then he was forced out from being merged with the world and appeared here. The moment he saw the wall of flesh, Wang Lin understood that the wall he hit was this endless wall of flesh. It was called a wall of flesh because it was moving. There were bulges that kept moving on the surface. Wang Lin frowned as his body flickered and flew upward. As his body flew upward, the ball of flesh began to move. Countless cracks opened and spat out black mist. Wang Lin dodged the black mist and moved along the flesh wall without any cracks. He stared at the black mist as it charged out with great force and merged with the fog. Wang Lin looked at the endless wall of flesh above him and revealed a decisive gaze. His body moved and immediately charged into a crack next to him. Right after he went inside the crack, it closed. This was a narrow passage. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he charged forward. He was very fast and almost left behind after images as he moved. The crack rapidly closed behind Wang Lin as if it was chasing after him. Wang Lin didn't even look back and only stared ahead. In flash, he was getting closer and closer to what was ahead of him. This tunnel wasn't as long as Wang Lin had imagined. A moment later, he charged out of the exit of the tunnel. At the moment he charged out, a cry entered his ears. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. This place wasn't dark, there were stars scattered in the sky, lighting the place up. Ahead of him was a floating continent. This continent was very large with no end in sight. In the distance, there was a man dressed in cloth. His appearance was very ordinary, but he had tattoos marks on his face that twisted like vines. He was holding a strange instrument in his hand. It was like the mouth of a kettle but many times larger, almost the height of half a person. That exclamation came from that person. He looked at Wang Lin with fear and quickly retreated. It was as if Wang Lin was a ferocious beast in his eyes. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The man didn't have any spiritual energy, so there's no need to even talk about celestial spiritual energy. However, he was still able to fly, so he was obviously not normal. More importantly, the tattoo on the man's face was very familiar to Wang Lin. Upon seeing the man retreat, Wang Lin pondered for a bit before chasing after the man. When Wang Lin charged out, the crack behind him closed completely. The fear in the man's eyes became even more intense. The tattoo on his face began to move and extended to between his eyebrows. Soon, a 7-leaf plant appeared between his eyebrows. When the leaves on the planet spread, a mysterious force immediately spread over the man's body. His speed suddenly increased and disappeared in a flash. When Wang Lin saw this, his eyes widened and shined brightly. The Forsaken Immortal Clan. He started moving even faster, then his right hand formed a seal and the origin energy inside his body moved. His hand hit the void, causing the origin energy to diffuse into the void. The huge fluctuations of origin energy caused the void before him to twist and the man teleporting away immediately appeared. His eyes were filled with confusion, but soon his eyes' pupils shrank and were filled with fear. Wang Lin walked toward him and stared into his eyes. The man's body trembled and he let out a scream before he retreated once more. Wang Lin frowned and his right hand reached out. The man's body immediately stiffened as if there was an invisible hand holding him and dragged him back to Wang Lin. While holding the person, Wang Lin was about to question him when his expression suddenly changed and he turned around. He saw more than 100 rays of light of varying colors that gave off a terrifying aura rushing toward him. In almost an instant, the rays of light closed in and stopped 1,000 feet from Wang Lin. The lights dissipated, revealing figures dressed in coarse clothes like the man. There were no women among them, and most of them were middle-aged. They all stared at Wang Lin with fear hidden in their eyes. There were tattoo marks on their faces and limbs. The most noticeable ones were the plants flashing between their eyebrows. However, the leaves were contracted, so he couldn't count how many each person had. An old man walked out from the crowd. He had a head of white hair and his face was filled with wrinkles. His eyes were filled with awe and a hint of excitement as he looked at Wang Lin and scanned his right hand. What has Upper Celestial come here for? His gaze was filled with respect as he stared at the beast bone tattoo on Wang Lin's right hand. Wang Lin's eyes were neutral, but his heart was shaken. With his almost a millennium of cultivation, he could put up a calm expression even when he was shocked. Right now he wasn't revealing the slightest hint of his shock. Upper Celestial meant nothing from the mouths of mortals, but from the mouths of these forsaken immortal clan members, it was very different. More importantly, Upper Celestial wasn't just a title. Before he went to the collection pavilion, he wouldn't have thought about it, but now he couldn't help but think about it. Wang Lin's gaze was calm as he slowly asked, "You can see through my cultivation?" The old man nodded as he stared at Wang Lin's right hand. The excitement in his eyes became more intense as he said, "Rank 8 Upper Celestial. This lowly one can recognize your cultivation." Wang Lin silently pondered as he looked at the old man. The other person referred to themselves as lowly one and kept looking at his right hand. Wang Lin felt like this was strange, and adding on the excitement in the other party's eyes, a bold idea emerged in Wang Lin's head. Could it be? Could these people not know that the celestial realm has collapsed? If so, they must have lived here since countless years ago. After pondering, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly asked, "How long has it been since a celestial came?" The old man's expression darkened as he respectfully said, "It has been a long time since the last celestial jade was sent by Celestial King Carefree. As for the specific amount of time, this lowly one is unable to calculate." Carefree. Wang Lin suddenly understood why the old man kept staring at his right hand. He raised his right hand, exposing the beast bone tattoo, as he stared at the old man and asked, "Do you know this?" The old man's eyes were filled with excitement as he respectfully said, "That is Celestial King Carefree's treasure, the Wither Dao pair. I naturally recognize it. For you to have it, you must be someone close to Celestial King Carefree. Did you come for the mysterious yin furnace?" Wang Lin looked at the old man and didn't speak. His gaze moved to the continent behind the old man. The old man respectfully said, "This old man is being rude. Celestial, please come. The celestial sprite fruits ripened a long time ago. I'll order someone to bring some for you to taste." Under the guidance of the old man, Wang Lin quietly followed. As for the rest of the forsaken immortal clan, they trailed behind as if they were afraid to get too close. The person who was caught by Wang Lin regained his freedom after Wang Lin released the spell. He gazed toward Wang Lin was filled with fear. Under the guidance of the old man, Wang Lin got closer and closer to the continent. A moment later, he was above the continent, and what he saw was a green plain. He wasn't able to see the end with a gaze, but the fragrance of the grass brought by the wind felt very comfortable. The old man didn't stop and respectfully led the way. There was a group of very ancient buildings at the center of the plain. Although they weren't ruins, they gave off a very ancient aura. This aura was very faint, but after gaining some understanding of the soul extraction spell, Wang Lin became sensitive to this kind of aura. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stopped flying and looked down. The grass here was no different from outside. However, Wang Lin's knowledge of restrictions had increased a lot after his experiences in the Thunder Celestial Realm and being taught by Li Yuan. In particular, his understanding of celestial restrictions had increased a lot. At this moment, he was immediately able to see a large restriction around the buildings. The old man noticed Wang Lin's gaze. He respectfully said, "Upper Celestial, this array was placed by the Celestial King personally to protect my clan from the attacks of the fog beasts." Wang Lin didn't know what the fog beast was and only silently nodded. However, in his heart he was very interested in his place. Master Carefree, the chosen immortal clan, and the mysterious yin furnace. What exactly is this place? While Wang Lin was contemplating, noise came from the distance. A large amount of people flew out from the group of buildings. There were men and women among them dressed in plain clothes. However, none of them dared to get close and viewed from afar. Among the buildings below, there were children with wide eyes staring at Wang Lin. When Wang Lin saw these people, he was startled. It was obvious there was an entire tribe of the Forsaken Immortal clan here. They had been here for an unknown amount of time and had reproduced to last until now. Those people that flew out continued to retreat as Wang Lin closed in. They were afraid to get close and their eyes were filled with fear. The old man leading Wang Lin immediately became gloomy. He spoke in a strange language to the people that flew out. These people that flew out silently pondered and then spread apart. The old man quickly turned toward Wang Lin and respectfully said, "Upper Celestial, this way, this is where my family lives." As the old man spoke, he descended from the sky, landed on the tallest building, and respectfully stood to the side. When Wang Lin landed, his eyes lit up and his divine sense spread out. Although he determined there was no danger, he still didn't enter and slowly said, "Here is fine, there is no need to go inside." The old man was startled and revealed a bitter expression. He nodded and didn't try to insist Wang Lin come in. The members of the Forsaken Immortal clan gathered in the sky and looked at Wang Lin with a tense gaze. "Upper Celestial." The old man didn't finish speaking before he was interrupted by Wang Lin. Wang Lin was calm as he looked at the old man and asked, "Why are these people's eyes filled with fear when they look at me?" The bitterness became even stronger on the old man's face. After a moment of silence, he let out a sigh and said, "It has been a long time since someone from Celestial Realm has come. It was as if the Celestial King had abandoned us. I'm the oldest one here, but to be honest, you're the first Celestial I've seen. If it wasn't for the record left behind in my chosen Immortal clan, then even I wouldn't have recognized a Celestial, let alone the rest of the tribe." Wang Lin didn't speak and only calmly looked at the old man. The old man hesitated and whispered, "My clan followed the order of Celestial King Carefree to guard the mysterious Yin Furnace. However, since 30,000 years ago, the mysterious Yin Furnace has opened once every 100 years. Every time it opened, it would release a large amount of black fog. The black fog would turn into demonic beasts, and the powerful ones could take human shape. Countless members of my clan died to these human-shaped fog beasts. That is why almost every single stranger that appeared were these fog beasts. As for the people of my clan, because of our tattoos, the fog beasts couldn't change into us. However, as a result, no one other than me can tell if you are a celestial or a fog beast. Even now some of them don't believe my words." The old man said the reason with a long sigh. Wang Lin nodded slightly. The old man had some credibility. Combining with everything that had happened and the expression of the people, there was some logic to what the old man said. Wang Lin pondered for a bit and then calmly asked, "Where is the mysterious Yin Furnace?" The old man respectfully said, "It is in the forbidden area in my clan. Does Upper Celestial want to go now?" Wang Lin pondered a bit and nodded. He wanted to see exactly what this mysterious Yin Furnace was. The old man was about to speak, but a shout suddenly came out from the crowd in the sky. "Ancestor can't take this person to the mysterious Yin Furnace." This voice was like thunder as it echoed across the sky. A man almost 10 feet tall walked through the void. His upper body was covered in tattoos that spread out and almost covered his whole body. Even his neck and face were almost completely covered by the tattoos. There was a 13-leaf plant moving between his eyebrows. This gave him a demonic aura. 13 leaves. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. From his memory, the most powerful Forsaken Immortal clan member on planet Suzaku had 11 leaves. Equal to an corporeal young cultivator, Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he coldly looked the man. This burly man arrived with a few steps. His appearance caused the surrounding Forsaken Immortal clan members to cheer, and their eyes were filled with respect. The old man beside Wang Lin suddenly shouted, "Ta Shan, show some respect to the Celestial." The burly man's eyes became cold as he stared at the old man and sneered. "Ancestor, you are old. Have you gone crazy from thinking about Celestials? It is likely that there are no Celestials in the world and that all the records left by the ancestors are fabricated. If there are any Celestials, why hasn't my clan seen a Celestial in countless years?" The old man's expression became gloomy and he shouted, "Shut up. The chosen Immortal clan are the messengers of the Celestials. If Celestials don't exist, then how can our clan exist? Besides, the Celestial Jade from the Celestial King is there. Do you dare to not believe in it? Believe. The so-called Celestial King is merely the residual divine sense from someone's power. How can it make me believe? Instead of believing a divine sense left behind countless years ago, I rather believe in my own strength. The burly man gripped his right hand. His eyes were filled with confidence. Heresy. The old man's body was trembling as he clenched his teeth. You. So what if it is heresy? Celestials, my clan has been inside the nether beast for countless years, guarding the mysterious yin furnace as instructed by the Celestial Jade, but what did we get in return? It was the fog beasts from inside the mysterious yin furnace and the death of my clan members. Where were the Celestials when the fog beasts were killing my clan? Ancestor, don't mention the Celestials anymore. Even if this person is really a Celestial, then today, I, Ta Shun, will kill a Celestial. As the burly man spoke, his eyes suddenly landed on Wang Lin with a cold gaze. He took a step forward, suddenly appeared before Wang Lin, and threw a punch. After he threw this punch, there was a series of explosions and a series of tattoos appeared. The tattoos lined up around the burly man as if they were forming a mysterious formation. Celestial, bring out your celestial power and let me see why you're qualified to be called a Celestial. Wang Lin's eyes were very cold. He had a very good understanding of the Forsaken Immortal clan. He was obviously not a shaman, he was one that focused on empowering their body. As the punch closed in, Wang Lin immediately became aware that the air around him seemed to have solidified. It was as if the punch carried with it a mysterious force that sealed off all his retreat. Wang Lin's expression was still neutral as he calmly said, "It's not bad, but still not enough." At the same time, Wang Lin raised his right foot and gently stepped forward. A series of bangs suddenly appeared on the earth under Wang Lin with his feet as the center. It spread like crazy and the force sealing Wang Lin's retreat immediately collapsed. All of the shackles around Wang Lin shattered with sounds like mirrors breaking. The shattered force swept backwards all around Wang Lin. The burly man's expression changed greatly. He immediately felt a powerful force coming at him and his body slowed down. Wang Lin took a step and arrived before the burly man in an instant. His hand touched the burly man's chest, causing the burly man to involuntarily retreat. The tattoos on the burly man's body gave off a dazzling glow. The burly man retreated dozens of steps. Although there were no visible injuries on the burly man, the inside of his body was like a storm. However, due to the tattoos, it wasn't serious, so he would recover after a short rest. The burly man revealed a ferocious expression as he let out a roar and his hand hit his chest. A loud rumble echoed across the area. At the same time, the tattoos on his body began to move like crazy and came out from his body one by one. He was surrounded by countless tattoos, and it looked very shocking. The burly man suddenly charged forward. The tattoos around him followed him as he charged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Although the burly man's body couldn't compare to his celestial guard, there wasn't much difference. His expression was neutral as he let out a sneer and his right foot stepped forward. He seemed to cross a long distance and instantly became infinitely close to the incoming burly man. At the moment they closed in, the burly man's right hand punched out. At this moment, the world surrounding them seemed to shake. The surrounding tattoos shined brightly like spells and charged toward Wang Lin. There was a flash of cold light in Wang Lin's eyes as he raised his right hand and the celestial stop spell activated. The burly man's body immediately stopped, and at the same time, Wang Lin's finger pressed down on the burly man's chest once more. The burly man's body was thrown away with a bang. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and his gaze toward Wang Lin was filled with shock. As for the tattoos around his body, they were also pushed back him. Right now he wasn't the only one that was shocked. All of the surrounding clan members were also shocked from watching this battle and were completely silent. The ancestor of the chosen immortal clan became anxious and quickly said, "Upper Celestial, please don't be angry and let Ta Shan live." "No need." The burly man landed on the ground and continued to retreat. It wasn't until he retreated 100 feet that he finally steadied himself. He let out a roar as both of his hands formed a seal and he mercilessly beat his chest. All of the tattoos around him began to move strangely and rapidly retreated back into the burly man. However, they didn't go back onto his skin but instead bulked out. Soon, the tattoos formed a black suit of armor around him. The moment the armor appeared, there was a dark aura. There was even a vague illusion that had appeared behind the burly man as if it was a devil god. The ancestor of the chosen immortal clan sucked in a breath of cold air and exclaimed, "Celestial spirit armor. You managed to refine a set of spirit armor." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He was a bit familiar with this armor. It was very similar to the armor the scattered demon wore. The only difference was that the devilish energy from the armor wasn't as strong. It was as if it was being suppressed by another force. The burly man let out a roar and charged out. At this moment, due to his armor and his size, he looked like a ferocious giant. If someone was timid, they would be shaken by the sight of him. The black armor gave off a breathtaking aura. As the burly man charged forward, the illusion behind him revealed a fierce expression. As he charged out, his right fist flew out. This punch was stronger than the previous two punches combined and much more imposing. At this moment, the illusion behind him turned into strands of black gas and wrapped around his right fist. When this punch flew out, it created a sonic boom and a shocking aura came toward Wang Lin. At the same time, the black gas from the illusion turned into a skull. It let out a grin as it attempted to devour Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was still neutral as he calmly stared at the burly man. He opened his mouth and a grain of sand flew out. It turned into a fragment stamp 1,000 feet wide and smashed toward the burly man. This was the first time the celestial fragment stamp had appeared outside the celestial realm. When it appeared, rich celestial spiritual energy filled the air. When the old man saw this, he knelt to the ground and began worshipping the fragment. Even the burly man's eyes revealed a moment of hesitation. However, a moment later, he clenched his teeth and hesitated no more. His punch landed directly on the fragment that was blocking his path. "Break for me." The punch was thrown out and landed with a bang. The fragment didn't move at all, but the burly man flew backwards. His body trembled as he coughed out blood and continued to retreat. His eyes were filled with shock. He didn't expect this thing to be this sturdy. Not only had his full strength not caused any damage, but the backlash caused the energy and blood in his body to go crazy. The devil illusion on the burly man's punch also dissipated from the shock. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he pointed with his right hand. The fragment flew into the air and mercilessly smashed down. A sharp cry echoed across the world. At the moment the fragment descended, the burly man let out a roar. Both of his hands rose up into the sky as if he was trying to block it. Wang Lin calmly said, "Fall." The fragment suddenly smashed into the ground. A loud rumble suddenly erupted and the entire continent trembled. A large amount of cracks appeared on the continent. As these cracks intersected, a large amount of fog appeared from inside the cracks. The moment the fog appeared, it gathered together. It condensed very fast, and in almost an instant, each of them took very strange forms. "Fog beasts," the chosen immortal clan members exclaimed, and the plants between their eyebrows immediately began to flash. The layers of leaves spread out, and from within flew out the long mouth pot Wang Lin saw before. The fog soon finished condensing and more than 100 fierce black beasts appeared in the sky. The beasts all had different appearances and gave off a gloomy aura. Soon, low roars that could penetrate the soul appeared. The ancestor of the chosen immortal clan's expression became gloomy as he pressed his hand between his eyebrows. A large, long mouth pot more than 10 feet long appeared. He rushed into the sky and shouted, "Each of you, get into position and clean up this fog within 30 minutes. Don't allow any human-shaped fog beasts to appear." His body flickered and immediately closed in on an fog beast that had just appeared. His hand hit the pot and soon a powerful suction force came from the mouth of the pot. The fog beast's eyes weren't open, but it began to struggle. Soon, its body became twisted and was turned into smoke that was sucked into the pot. Then some banging sounds came from inside the pot. In addition to him, all of the surrounding cultivators held the treasures. Their eyes were filled with anxiety as they charged toward the fog beasts. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and caused the fragment stamp to fly up with a move of his finger. The body of the fellow named Ta Shen was broken in many places and blood was pouring out from his orifices. However, he wasn't dead and his gaze toward Wang Lin was filled with battle intent. Wang Lin didn't look at that person but stared at the beasts formed from the fog. His eyes continued to flash as he stared at the fog beasts. These fog beasts had just formed. They had bodies, but their minds weren't sober yet. In addition, the clan's reaction was extremely quick and they had rich experience in battling these fog beasts. In an instant, a large amount of fog beasts were sucked in by the treasures. However, just at this moment, while one of the fog beasts was being sucked into the treasure, it suddenly opened its eyes. It was the first fog beast to open its eyes. Wang Lin had never seen eyes like these. The beast's eyes had no pupils, but there were 6 black spots. Aside from that, everything else was gray. These eyes were completely heartless. The chosen immortal clan member was filled with fear and retreated without hesitation. Just as he retreated, the fog beast rushed out. It was far too fast. It caught up in an instant and entered the person through his orifices. This chosen immortal clan member let out a miserable scream that echoed across the world. At this instant, his body exploded into a cloud of blood and flesh. The fog beast took form once more and licked its lips with its long tongue before rushing toward the next person. After that, one fog beast after another opened their eyes and changed from their previously dormant state. They were extremely bloodthirsty and moved like lightning. Celestial slaughter array. The ancestor in the sky revealed an anxious expression and dodged the fog beast coming at him. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and the fog beast that opened its eyes rushed out toward him. That ferocious roar seemed as if it could penetrate one's mind. This video will end here.